HD3 Laverne. We are the Game Nashville Sports Network. ESPN 94.9. The Fan.
You enjoy the thrill of gambling, but what happens when it becomes a problem? Whether you want to cut back or quit gambling altogether, the Gambling Clinic has been helping people change their gambling for over 2 decades. We're here to help, not to judge. The Gambling Clinic is a Tennessee-based clinic offering in-person and telehealth support to help people win back their life. Visit us at thegamblingclinic.com. This project is funded by the Tennessee Department of Mental Health and Substance Abuse Services. Brought to you by the Gambling Clinic, the Tennessee Association of Broadcasters, and this station.
Hey guys, Big Joe, headed to a game or concert at Bridgestone Arena? How about starting and ending your night at Bar Lines inside the Omni Nashville Hotel, just steps away? Savor award-winning Southern-inspired dishes, handcrafted Tennessee drinks, and the unbeatable energy of fellow fans. With 22 jumbo flat-screen HD TVs, you're never going to miss a moment of the action. Also, park at the Omni for ultimate convenience and experience a true taste of Nashville. Bar Lines, where every seat feels like the front row.
30 years of the best sports talk in Middle Tennessee. It's the George Plaster Show, featuring Tennessee Sports Hall of Famers Kelly Holcomb and young gun Billy Derrick. And now, here's your host, George Plaster.
Hello again, everybody. Welcome in. It is a beautiful Monday in Nashville, Tennessee. It's 73 degrees, and it's March, and that's a good thing. Man, we have got a lot to get into. Let's start in Murfreesboro, and welcome back, Kelly Holcomb. Kelly, how are you?
What's up, George? How you doing?
Good. How was your vacation?
It was good, man. It was great, actually. I got to see my daughter, which she's in another country. That's the first time I'd been to Europe in 30 years. And yesterday I came back, and it was let's just say a crap show. Getting back into the country in Newark Airport, which I've experienced Newark before, and I'm not a big fan of Newark, and I became even less of a fan yesterday.
Is that so?
Yeah, absolutely.
What time did you get home?
We walked in our door, I think a little after midnight last night. But yeah, we missed our flight because when you come into the United States, you have to recheck your baggage and you have to go through security again. And then when we walked up to security, it was an hour wait. And then we bamboozled. I don't know how my wife did it, but we both were trying to get through, and we got a guy that got us up there, and we skipped the line. But it didn't matter. We was running through the Newark airport trying to get to our gate, and it's amazing that the plane they had just backed it off. And the woman said, wait for a second, but I thought she was trying to stop the plane, but that wasn't happening. And I'm like, I don't understand it. Like, you know that these airlines know that you're in the airport, and they knew the problems that everybody was having yesterday. I just don't get it. But, so we supposed to leave at 9:12 last night. Ended up that plane got delayed because we didn't have stewardesses on board, so we had to wait for that for another hour. So that was great. It was awesome. But at least it was safe.
Coffee, tea, or bottled water? Okay, there's
Coffee,
a lot
baby.
to get into. Suffice it to say, it's good to have you back.
Well, I'm glad to be back. Yeah, absolutely.
Did you miss me?
Didn't think about you not once, George. That's one of those things. And I didn't think about Parker as well, so I'm not worried about either one of y'all.
That's a lie.
Oh,
no,
not
I think it's the truth.
I promise you it's the truth.
So I'm going to butt in here. Kelly, when you say you were in Europe, so that means that you were not in the Dominican Republic for the World Baseball Classic. Is that correct?
I was not. No, Europe and Dominican Republic in two different
different
places.
National, or I guess it was the World LinkedIn Convention. How was that?
Oh yeah, I don't know about that one either. I was just there to visit my daughter there, big dog.
Well, guys, I'm going to try to do my best Adam Schefter impression. Should we give it a go?
Sure.
No.
America's favorite update returns, guys. Let's start here. As the latest Titans signing, the team has come to an agreement with Saints cornerback Alontae Taylor. It's a 3-year, $60 million deal. bringing a former University of Tennessee football player back home to his home state in Nashville. Titans need a lot of help in the secondary. And by the way, George did not know who this was. I do. Kelly, I'm not sure if you do. Cordell Flatt, former New York Giants corner, has also signed with the Titans, and I have not seen a financial term on that one yet.
All I did was ask if he was related to Carlton Flatt.
And you don't know who that is, Parker. So
I don't know who that
there
is.
you go.
Oh, here we go.
Lord.
PFF put it out. Per Mike Garafolo, 3-year, $45 million contract for Cordell Flatt.
Okay.
So 2 signings there for the Titans. They've actually been pretty busy today because they also just signed about an hour ago John Franklin Myers, the worst kept secret in the NFL. He is reunited with his former defensive coordinator, Robert Saleh. The 2 spent time together in New York. That is a 3-year, $63 million deal with $42 million in guarantees.
Okay.
As we continue, Wan'Dale Robinson, another big fish. He's going to join Brian Daboll on the offensive side of the ball. A 70, I'm blanking on the, he gets 42 in guarantees and upwards of 70 million in total. That's a 4-year deal for Wan'Dale Robinson. So the market was going to be, I believe, around 22 to 25. The Titans got him for a little bit less, which is good for them. Cody Bellinger.
This money that's out there right now is unbelievable. When I look at it and the times that I played, of course, I played 20 years ago, it's just amazing how much that it has skyrocketed over 20 years.
It's insane. Cody Bellinger, former tight end for the New York Giants, is also joining Brian Daboll here in Nashville. We might refer to them as the New York Titans. They are undergoing a rebrand after all.
Wait a minute. Cody Bellinger is a Yankee outfielder.
Daniel Bellinger. I'm sorry.
Oh.
Daniel
Okay.
Bellinger, former tight end of the New York Giants. Lots of names floating around.
Mm-hmm.
Morgan Cox.
Shohei Ohtani signing with him.
I wish. Morgan Cox has been re-signed on a 1-year deal at long snapper, and I think that's it so far for day one.
No, there's one more.
How could I forget?
Mm-hmm.
Music City Mitch Trubisky is going to be the Titans' backup quarterback on a 1-year deal.
So while they've said all the right things, report to, be ready to compete, blah, blah, blah. Today, the Titans told you exactly what they think of Will Levis, which is not much.
Yeah, it's exactly what I thought when I saw that name. I'm like, yeah, they were talking a good game, but they've got somebody that has played quite a bit. He started, and he's been in the league long enough. He's one of those guys that's not going to rock the boat anymore. He knows he's not a starter anymore, and he's just going to come in and try to help the starter, and then if he's got to go in, he's going to play.
Tyler Linderbaum is signing with the Las Vegas Raiders. He is now the highest paid center in the NFL. He could not come to an agreement with the Baltimore Ravens. Apparently, there was about a $5 million difference in what the Ravens were willing to offer versus what he was asking for. And Clint Kubiak and the Raiders were willing to pay him, and now he is in Las Vegas. Mike Evans is joining the San Francisco 49ers on a 3-year deal, making around $65 million. I could be wrong. My numbers are a little fuzzy right now. I think that was a really good signing for them. Alec Pierce is re-signing back with the Indianapolis Colts on a 4-year, $112 million deal. He's making about $8 million less than Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Wow. People don't understand, too. I got to say this, George, but people, when they see all this big money, a lot of it is upfront, but the back end of the contract, the last 2 years of the contract is kind of ridiculous. And they'll go back and restructure, or they'll cut that person. So when you see $67 million or $112 million, they're going to get like 40 or 50 million in the last 2 years, and that's not ever going to happen.
Yeah, it's the guaranteed money
that you have to get, yes.
That goes to the bank.
Yes, correct.
And our boy Malik Willis has signed with Miami Dolphins. Real shocker there, right? 3 years, $67.5 million with $45 million fully guaranteed at signing.
This is really an interesting deal because for all of the praise of Vrabel, and most of it rightfully so, they butchered the Malik Willis thing. They didn't think he could walk, chew gum when he played here. He was given a Gerber's baby food offense. And you know what? He's proving them wrong.
Yeah, and that's what I like to. I said this before I left, but when you've got a young man like that, you see what coaching does because he goes up there to Green Bay, and when he comes in, he plays really well. So you got to look at it and say, well, they coached the young man, they coached him into something, and that's what the Green Bay Packers do. You can look at their history of quarterbacks, and they're pretty. They got a pretty respected past with that.
And the Dolphins will be releasing. They actually have already. Tua Tagovailoa, $99 million in dead cap, the most in NFL history. So they're paying him $99 million just to not be on the team anymore.
He receives the first annual Russell Wilson Award.
A couple more to get to real quick, and then I'll get into some college hoop stuff. The Rams have signed cornerback Jalen Watson, so they've taken 2 corners from the Kansas City Chiefs. The Kansas City Chiefs have been getting busy as they've signed Kenneth Walker on a 3-year deal, the former Super Bowl MVP, and the Panthers have signed edge Jalen Phillips to a 4-year, $120 million deal with $80 million in guarantees. Georgia's boy Alex Anzalone, 2-year deal with the Bucks. Had to throw that one in there too.
Kelly, I don't get that one. Anzalone, to me, was one of the heart and soul people of Detroit's defense. How do you let him walk?
Yeah, that's a good question, George. There's times in an organization where you have to have hard decisions and you have to make hard decisions, and obviously that was probably one of them. They just felt like he was asking too much for whatever, and somebody decided, hey, we're going to pay him that. And the Detroit Lions didn't think he was worth that, and that's kind of how it goes. I don't know. When you got a guy like that, I think you're right, George. He was kind of one of the staples the last couple of years of that defense, and then just those tough decisions that you have to make sometimes.
Shows what I know.
All right, college hoops. Can we send up some prayers for Belmont men's basketball as they got beat pretty bad, 100-79 in the Missouri Valley Conference tournament in the quarterfinal round? Belmont is now hoping for an at-large bid, which seems unlikely.
No, it's not unlikely. It ain't happening.
Yeah, it ain't happening.
I mean,
that's what's unbelievable to me, George. That's what got Kermit Davis out of Murfreesboro to go to Ole Miss. And does Casey Alexander start thinking the same thing? I know it's his alma mater, and I know that he was there, but does he start thinking the exact same thing that Kermit did?
Well, here's what I would like to believe. And when Taylor Barnette comes on today at 4, we'll get into this. I wanted to believe that the committee would think about Belmont, even if they didn't win the tournament, because they've had a terrific year. But when you get beat in your conference tournament by 21 by Drake, you don't deserve to be in.
And we watched. I actually watched that game while I was over in Belgium, and when Drake starts.
Now you want to say it, Kelly, but when I tried to say it,
yeah, because I'm back. I'm back now, Parker. You little clown.
Not everything's a government secret, Kelly. It's okay to admit that you're going on vacation somewhere. It's okay.
But Drake had won 4 or 5 games in a row, and when they're you think when a team starts out hitting 3-pointers and hitting shots like they were hitting, they're going to cool off, but they never cooled off. And when you don't play as good and you have to keep up with somebody that's playing terrific like that, that's tough. It doesn't matter who it is, George. You know that.
I think they kind of lost the game in the final 3 minutes of the first half. It had been kind of nip and tuck back and forth. I didn't get to see it. But then all of a sudden, it's an 8-point halftime margin. And Kelly, the thing I think goes on, I think when teams are in do or die, there's a chance at freak out.
I'm telling you, man, I wanted to ask Taylor about that before. I presented that to you a couple of weeks ago, and Tony and some of those guys talked about it, and some of the people that listen. But like, I just think there's got to be more. Like, if you have the kind of year that Belmont had, the regular season championship has to mean something. Not like it doesn't mean anything with these smaller conferences, because if you win your tournament, you're going. It's an automatic bid. So there's got to be somewhere where you can rectify that. I don't know what that is, but like, it doesn't mean anything to win the conference championship in the regular season. You have to win the tournament.
Well, Kelly, I've thought for a while, if we're going to expand the tournament, and I think at some point it will, whether the number is 72 or 76, I think there needs to be some legislation that in that expansion, X number of those go to the little guy.
Just don't expand it. How about that?
I agree.
Well, that's also a possibility, but more likely that we are going to expand. And when that happens, cut the deal that says the little guy gets X amount of them.
I'm good with that.
So Tennessee State will be going dancing as they won their conference. First time in 32 years, Tennessee State will be back in the NCAA tournament. And what's more impressive, it is the first year under head coach Nolan Smith.
Yep, came from the Grizzlies, before that from Duke.
Mm-hmm.
Kelly, the OVC, from a basketball standpoint, has kind of fallen off a cliff, but they're pretty good. They were 10 points better than anybody in that field.
Yeah, I can remember being in college and watching them, and they weren't that good. But like 32 years, I didn't realize that. That's pretty impressive. That's his first year there. That's saying something.
Yeah. He's off to a good start.
Austin P lost in their semifinal round in the ASUN. So they will not be in. They will not make March Madness. That is very surprising. Queens ended up winning the conference over Central Arkansas, who was the favorite. So that was yesterday. Phenomenal game. And lots more stuff to get to. Tennessee lost to Vanderbilt at home. Vanderbilt is a winner, 86-82. They get the double bye in the SEC tournament, and Tennessee will be the 5 seed.
And it looks like Tennessee and Vandy might end up playing on Friday at Bridgestone. Anyway, we'll go to the break, and then we'll try to make some common sense out of what has gone on today in NFL free agency. Terry McCormick will join us to get into all of it, so stay tuned. We got some good stuff coming. This is the George Plaster Show.
When I got my first car, my dad told me, keep the gas tank full and my number on speed dial. Now parents are telling their kids, save 615-242-9000 just in case. I'm Blair Durham. If you or someone you love is in a wreck, call us. We're here to get you the money you deserve.
It's easy to say good things about the folks at Strike and Spare Family Fun Centers. Number one, I trust them with something that's near and dear to me, the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night. But more importantly, I see the fun people have. They enjoy the bowling, they enjoy the camaraderie, and you will too. Come by any of their locations and get ready to have some fun.
At Wilson Bank and Trust, we believe you shouldn't have to choose between personal service and digital solutions. As your local independent bank, we're proud to offer the relationships and trusted service you expect, along with the tools and technology that keep you moving forward. So whether you're growing a business, buying a home, or planning for the future, we're here to help. Because this isn't just where we work, it's where we live too. Wilson Bank and Trust, here to get you there. Member FDIC.
Are you looking for expert medical care in Nashville without leaving your home? Medical House Calls brings concierge-level health care directly to your door. Whether you need urgent attention, ongoing primary care, revitalizing IV therapy, or medically guided weight loss, our experienced providers are just a phone call away at 615-838-2375 or go online, medicalhousecalls.com. If you are paying too much for your health insurance, you know what? You need to contact the folks at Pancoast Benefits. Pancoast works with businesses and individuals to tackle the high cost of health insurance. Whether you're a business owner, large or small, self-employed, between jobs, or over the age of 65 and in need of a Medicare plan, Pancoast can help. They make understanding your benefits less difficult and more personal. So check them out today, pancoastbenefits.com, or call them at 615-292-3400. 292-3400.
ESPN Radio lives here. Your sports live here on ESPN 94.9 The Fan.
Today in the National Football League, a lot of money being tossed out there, some of it by your Tennessee Titans. Terry McCormick, Main Street Media and TitanInsider.com, joins us to talk about all this. Terry, thank you for taking the time.
Thanks for having me, George.
So let's just go with an overview so far. How do you think they've done?
Pretty good. I mean, they've gone on a big spending spree here. You and I talked about an hour ago, and in that span, they signed 3 more players. So they're up to 6 now. 3 on offense, 3 on defense, 3 former New York Giants. So read that any way you want. But they have got 2 cornerbacks in former Tennessee Vol and Coffee County player Alante Taylor, and picked up Cordell Flott, formerly of the Giants and formerly of LSU. So presumably there's your 2 starting outside corners. Also, they added John Franklin Myers, who had been rumored to them for weeks now. He's a former Robert Saleh player with the New York Jets, who spent the last couple of years with the Denver Broncos. And then on the offensive side of the ball, Wan'Dale Robinson is the big ad. He signed a pretty big 4-year deal with the Titans, and he is probably going to be the number 1 option at receiver, even though he's mostly a slot guy and he's only 5'8". They signed Daniel Bellinger. Don't know if he's any relation to Cody Bellinger, also formerly of the Giants, and then added Buffalo backup quarterback Mitch Trubisky on a 2-year deal.
Yeah, we'll get to that one in a minute. We know what that means. Let's start with Wan'Dale Robinson. You know, we've gotten to the point in the NFL world where we classify people as a 1 or a 1B or a 2 or a 3. In your opinion, what is he?
Probably a 2. I mean, my guess is, even though he plays out of the slot most of the time, probably a 2. He had a 1,000-yard season last year on 92 catches, I think it was. A lot of that came obviously after Malik Neighbors was injured. He became more of a focal point of the Giants offense, but Brian Daboll obviously knows him very well, knows what he's capable of, and it's a good get for the Titans because their receiver core was pretty depleted, and especially if they don't bring back Calvin Ridley, which is unlikely at this point. It would seem that Wan'Dale Robinson is going to be one of the focal points of that offense and maybe even a safety blanket for Cam Ward.
So let's take the Ridley thing. Does this signing mean he's gone? Does this signing mean anything when it comes to Ridley?
I think it means he's more likely gone than he probably already was. I think it's one of those situations where he's got a high cap number. He's coming off an injury. It's a brand new coaching staff, a coaching staff that didn't bring him in and a general manager and front office that didn't bring him in. So it's probably the writing on the wall for Calvin. The only thing would be if they don't find somebody else to add to the roster that can play that X receiver position like Calvin can do.
So based on what's been done so far, Does that give you any kind of okay, George, I know now exactly what they're going to do with the number 4 pick in the draft?
Not really. I think it narrows it down probably to an edge rusher to fortify that front four, adding Franklin Myers and Jermaine Johnson to Jeffrey Simmons, which that could be Reuben Bain, that could be Arvell Reese, that could be David Bailey. It's possible, or they could go with Jeremiah Love if they want to continue bolstering the offense and go with a bell cow running back and try to do things the way that they used to do with the run game being front and center while the young quarterback tries to feel his way around. That's also an option at number 4.
So since you brought it up, let me take it a little farther. I've kind of put it out on this show in the last week. When it comes to Jeremiah Love, I think we all think he's pretty darn good. And I also think most of us think that of the Titans' huge needs, which they have a bunch of, running back's the least of their problem. It's serviceable. Tony Pollard, busts his butt to be good. If you're going to take Jeremiah Love, don't you have to be sold that he's a superstar?
Yes. I mean, on the surface, like you said, running back is not their biggest need, and running back is kind of a luxury position. It feels like buying a 70-inch color TV with the grocery money. But in terms of what Jeremiah Love could do, this is a guy that could transform this offense. He could do for you what Derrick Henry did in a different way, of course. He could do for you what Christian McCaffrey does for the 49ers or what Saquon Barkley does for the Eagles. He can, amplify your offense by bringing something to the running game that very few teams have. So if you feel like this guy is a game changer, I'm okay with taking him at number 4 because, what you're going to find is, you're going to get, 5 to 6 years out of a good running back at least. And then, by that point, hopefully you've both built up the other positions and Cam Ward has developed and this team is on track to getting, back to where it needs to be. It would take a lot of the pressure off Cam Ward because I'm going to throw this stat out there, and this is something that tells you where they were last year. Entering the last game of the season before Cam Ward got hurt, he was 4th in the league in attempts by a rookie quarterback. That's not what you want for a rookie quarterback. That's not even what you want for a second-year quarterback. So if you could get a guy like Jeremiah Love and you can continue to fortify the offensive line and lean heavily on him, it would make life easier for Cam Ward, make life easier for Brian Daboll and Robert Saleh as well. And then the flip side of that is if you go edge with the number 4 pick and you continue to, bolster the defense, then you're also taking some of the pressure off with Cam Ward, even though you're not directly getting him a weapon. You're getting him defensive players who can stop opposing teams whenever there's an offensive mistake, or who can maybe get a turnover more so than they've been able to do to create short fields and things like that for Cam in the offense. So either way you go, you're trying to get help for Cam Ward. It's just a matter of which player do you have rated more highly and which do you think fits what you want to do.
Okay, on to Mitchell Trubisky. I think most of us know, highly thought of when he came out of Carolina. It didn't quite work out that way, and he's become essentially a career backup. Terry, to me, it sends Will Levis a signal that basically says, get lost. I can't see this bring Levis to training camp to compete with Trubisky for what?
Well, I think if you hang on to Will Levis through the draft and you're intent on trading him at the end of preseason, what you're looking to do is, one, you're looking to prove that Will Levis is healthy, having missed all of last year with the shoulder injury. And two, You're hoping that he plays really, really well so that some team that maybe would have given you a 5th round pick for him, sight unseen, would give you a 3rd or 4th round pick for him, believing that he could be their answer at quarterback.
Their answer?
Yeah, I mean,
Look at Kelly when you say that.
I mean, 4 years ago, Sam Darnold wasn't anybody's answer at quarterback.
No, I mean, that's the beauty
That's
of
true.
sports.
That's true. I think you're talking about 2 different guys, though, Terry. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, Will has some issues in his game, but he has all the traits that you would want in, the physical traits you would want in a franchise quarterback. He's got a big arm, he's athletic, he can, and he can run a little bit. And if you find the right system and put the right weapons around him, I think he'd be fine. He does not need to be in this little, the West Coast style dink and dunk offense that he was in under Brian Callahan. That didn't fit him at all. He's more of he's like Ryan Tannehill. Play action, vertical, take your shots in one-on-one because you've got a good running back that's holding that line, holding that safety in the box to free you up for more one-on-one shots with the intermediate and deep throws.
So I think I'm right that Borgonzi had pretty much said to him, hey, get yourself ready, come in here and compete, blah, blah, blah. I mean, it's what he has to say.
Yeah.
But doesn't this neuter that?
It could, yeah. I mean, obviously it would depend on what Trubisky, has. I'm sure he didn't sign here to be a 3rd quarterback on the practice squad. I mean, I think this does increase the chances greatly that Levis is dealt either during the draft or dealt at the end of training camp. The one advantage for Levis for being dealt during the draft is that he goes to a new team, gets time to get in that system, learn what he has to learn, and compete for a starting job. If you get dealt at the end of training camp, you're going to a new team. You got to learn a new offense on the fly, and you're probably 4 to 6 weeks in before you can, objectively have a chance to know enough to compete for the job.
Okay, the last thing from me before I turn it to Kelly. It appears that we've got a system going right now where Borgonzi is leaning heavily on Brian Daboll and Saleh as far as where they go, who they pluck. It feels like Giants South a little bit. Good, bad? What do you make of it?
Could be good if, it's giving those guys, guys that they're familiar with, guys that they know they can roll with, guys that they know they can count on, because Wan'Dale Robinson has done it before. Daboll has familiarity with Daniel Bellinger. Saleh has familiarity with Jermaine Johnson, the trade pickup, and with John Franklin Myers. And, Daboll has familiarity with Cordell Flott. I think most of the guys having a connection to one or the other of those guys, I think can be a good thing unless they don't produce. Then if they don't produce, you're like, people are going to be, why are you bringing in guys, from the Giants? They weren't any better than the Titans, blah, blah, blah. And there you go with that. Any new coach and any new staff is always going to bring in a few guys who have some familiarity with what they do, because it makes it easier to teach it to the rest of the guys. Because Kelly will tell you this, you can't have the coach always in the room and always in the huddle with you saying, this is how you do this and this over here. Sometimes it helps to have somebody that's been through it before and knows what it is to say, look, this is what this is. And that way you can just go without wasting more of the coach's time.
So you're hoping Cody Bellinger joins this team?
No, I hope he stays with the Yankees.
Oh, okay. I just wanted to make sure. Here's what we're going to do. On second thought, we'll go ahead and go to this break, and then Kelly and Parker will take over. It's free agency day one. It's Christmas for some, maybe not. Either way, it's the George Plaster Show.
When I got my first car, my dad told me, keep the gas tank full and my number on speed dial. Now parents are telling their kids, save 615-242-9000 just in case. I'm Blair Durham. If you or someone you love is in a wreck, call us. We're here to get you the money you deserve.
Smashville hockey. Around here, it can sound like a language of its own. But hey, if you can pronounce Demumbrian, then names like Yossi, Shea, Marchessault will roll right off the tongue. Nashville Predators, only in Smashville.
Sports and Social at Green Hills Mall is the new home for our Football Night in Nashville promotion. Their food is terrific. Their TV setup looks like a racing sports book in Vegas. And if you're a sports fan, you can't beat it. Starting September the 4th, we'll broadcast from Sports and Social every Thursday night. There's Pop-A-Shot, great football, and the chance to win a beautiful Mikey's Motors golf cart. See you at Sports and Social in Green Hills Mall. Here's Officer Garen Hoskins for the Metro Nashville Police Department.
The Metro Nashville Police Department is on the forefront of policing in this century, and I'm glad I'm a part of it. I'm glad I get to find other good officers, other future good officers. And if you're watching today, or you yourself or someone you happen to know is interested, join MNPD.com. Feel free to reach out to us because we need good officers, and it's a great city to work for.
You've heard me talk about the putting zone. Well, guess what? It's now open, and it offers a revolutionary indoor golf experience featuring state-of-the-art putting surfaces designed to replicate real-world course conditions. It allows players of all skill levels to practice, compete in tournaments, and connect year-round. Go by and see them at 3040 Sidco Drive and tell them Plaz sent you. Putting surfaces designed to replicate real-world course conditions. It allows players of all skill levels to practice, compete in tournaments, and connect year-round. Go by and see them at 3040 Sidco Drive and tell them Plaz sent you.
It's the George Plaster Show. Your sports live here on 94.9 The Fan.
Well, you'll know I'm back because I'm about to give you a tad bit of a weather update, and that is that some stuff is going to be pushing in here from, let's see, the southwest, like down toward Mississippi, moving up in our direction. And later on, you might want to pay attention because it could get a little bit hairy. Before Kelly takes over, any new signings in the last few minutes on Christmas Day NFL style?
Yeah, we got 3. So former Chargers defensive end Odafe Oweh has reached an agreement on a 4-year, $100 million deal, including $68 million guaranteed with the Washington Commanders. Former Dolphins quarterback Tua Tagovailoa signing a 1-year deal with the Atlanta Falcons. And Case Keenum is re-signing with the Bears on a 2-year, $5.5 million deal with a max value of $8 million.
He'll kill it if he has to play.
George, are you getting any money or royalties from Case Keenum? Because we know how much you love Case Keenum.
Tell you what, he's pretty good.
Would you rather have Mitch Trubisky or Case Keenum?
I'll take Case Keenum. I'll say that. I'll be on George's side with that.
Okay. Over Music City Mitch, huh?
So Terry, I want to go back to the Wan'Dale Robinson deal. Obviously, familiarity. You talked about it. You're absolutely right. I mean, that's the reason that, when I played as long ago as I did, that's the reason that Bruce brought me to Cleveland to help Tim Couch with the offense, and I had familiarity with the offense. So that's why I was there. So that's a huge deal. But do you think with that signing and with all the money that they're paying him, Do you think that they feel like they've got a number one? Because you just said it, and I don't think he's a number one guy. He's a slot guy, he's a Wes Welker. You have to have kind of that guy. But do you think they feel like they've got a number one guy? Are they still looking? Or are they thinking about maybe drafting? I don't know. What do you think about that?
Well, I think he's your de facto number one, sort of like Calvin Ridley has been the last year and a half after they traded DeAndre Hopkins in 2024. So Wan'Dale Robinson is your one until you can find a one, if that makes sense.
Right.
And I think in that regard, if you go edge or you go running back in round one of the draft, there may be a receiver similar to how you got A.J. Brown in the second round. There might be a receiver there at 35 that eventually develops into a one, and Wan'Dale Robinson certainly can hold down the fort while that guy develops. So to me, I think you're still looking for help at receiver, but Wan'Dale Robinson will suffice in the interim.
So y'all were talking about Jeremiah Love, and it got me to thinking, is that more of a deal where we see this every year where people are playing games, they talk about they want this guy, and maybe they're trying to boost that draft pick of the high draft pick with Jeremiah Love? Because I just don't see Jeremiah Love. I mean, maybe that's what Brian Dable wants. I don't know, but I just don't see him being. I've said this before. I'm just not a fan unless he's a Adrian Peterson like I had, who's a game changer, who's like a generational talent. Maybe Jeremiah Love is that. I don't know that. I just don't see the Tennessee Titans really needing that. I mean, I think Tony Pollard's the guy. Tyjae Spears came on. He played well. I just don't see a running back. And running back has been so diminished in this age of professional football because they're not needed. They're not like, it's not like Walter Payton or Emmitt Smith or, all those guys back in the day. But do you think that is a deal where maybe they're trying to play the game, and if they say that they're going to take him, somebody comes along that may want him and try to trade up? Is that kind of a scenario that you see?
It could be. It could very well be. I mean, it's one of those deals where, when you're going through the draft and that whole process of trying not to show your hands, like a big poker game, and you're trying to get somebody else to bite while you may be bluffing. So if they're bluffing about Jeremiah Love, it may be to get somebody to come up there and take him at number 4, and the Titans recoup another pick or two by sliding down a few spaces and still get the guy.
Right. And we've talked about familiarity stuff, and we've talked about Robert Saleh obviously taking the Jermaine Johnson kid, as an edge rusher. What are your feelings, like your gut feeling on? Are you think they're going to draft an edge rusher? You think that's going to kind of be a compliment, or does the Jermaine Johnson signing with Robert Saleh, he thinks that maybe he can be the guy, and maybe they go after something else like an offensive tackle, or maybe I don't know, a receiver. I don't know. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, when you got as many needs as they do, it's hard to go wrong if you just take the best player available. But that said, they do need another edge. I don't think Jermaine Johnson was signed to or traded for to be the be-all, end-all and be the guy that, is going to go out there and get you 14 sacks. I think there's still the possibility of drafting one of those guys like Bailey or Bain or somebody with that 4th pick, and then really making that defensive front stout. And I think, one of the things that Robert Saleh likes to do is he likes to get to the quarterback without having to blitz. And if you go edge in the first round and put it with the 3 guys, Jeffrey Simmons, and then the 2 guys that you've added being Jermaine Johnson at end and being John Franklin Myers today in free agency, that front 4 starts to be pretty impressive. And all you really need is a little bit of depth, and maybe Femi Oladejo and a re-signing of a James Lynch or a Sebastian Joseph Day could get you the depth you need right there. And that defensive line all of a sudden transforms into a strength of this team. And let's be honest here, this is a team that for the last 2 years hasn't had a lot of strengths at any position. And so if you have one where the at the place that the coach is the most familiar, that being the defensive line, then you're probably a step ahead of the game in the rebuilding process as far as Saleh is concerned.
Oh, you're absolutely right. So with those two defensive guys, those two defensive linemen, which I think that's where they should go. I'm not sure about the kid from Ohio State, but he can play both positions. You know, he can stand up and he can rush, so that may be what Robert Saleh wants. But I know you probably don't know this, but do you get a feeling of who they're looking towards? Is it going to be David Bailey or Reuben Bain? Which one do they like better, or do you even know that?
Well, there's no way to really know that, but boy, I tell you,
Yeah.
Robert Saleh, he perked up when the name Reuben Bain, when I brought it up to him in our conversation before the combine. He said, "Yes, I know that he's got short arms, and he's going to have to be the exception instead of the rule." But he said the production is undeniable, so he likes the production of Reuben Bain, and so I don't think that the short arms and the measurables are going to be too big of a mark against him as they evaluate him. That said, David Bailey, looks like a serious physical specimen, exactly kind of what you want a 4.3 end to look like if you could draw one up. And he remains an option as well right there at number 4. So it's going to be interesting to see that if they go edge at number 4, which one of these guys, if both of them are there, that they go after.
So my last question
Hey,
here
Kelly,
is,
hold on a second. Are you aware that I blew a gasket last week about the whole short arms thing?
oh, I want to blow a gasket too. It's ridiculous. Like Coach, I go back to the old saying that Coach Donnelly said, "Son, players come in all shapes and sizes, and you got to go fight." I don't care if he's got short arms. All you got to do is watch him in the national championship game. I mean, that dude can rush the passer. He knows how to get under pads. He's got great pad level. He's strong in the lower body. It doesn't matter what he looks like or how long his arms are. They get so caught up in Indianapolis, and I've told you before, the combine is a joke, man. Everybody wants to go up there and drink at St. Elmo's. That's the only reason they go up there. That's it. They already know about these guys now. They do so much research on these guys, and they go to these college day. What's it called? The college day or whatever they're having the deal.
Day.
Yeah. Yeah, they already know, man. It's just a party when they go up there, and I've already talked about that. But I want to know this, Terry.
Hold on, Kelly.
What?
You need to memorize 3 words.
What's that?
Paralysis by analysis.
Agreed.
Isn't big enough.
And now I heard the other day, it's crazy because the NFL we always talk about is into making money. Now they're allowing fans to come in and watch the combine. I mean, that was the most sacred thing when I went so long ago.
You'd have a better chance to get inside the Pentagon.
Yeah, they wouldn't even let you guys in. They wouldn't even let the media. It was ridiculous. And now they're letting fans in because they found another way to make money. It's unbelievable to me. So my last question here is, what do you think about the Malik Willis deal? Isn't that unbelievable, Terry? And I said it earlier. It's amazing that coaching still works, even in the National Football League. And when he goes to a place like the Packers, and the Packers have a really good reputation of coaching quarterbacks, and he goes up there and he goes into some games and he plays really well. And now the dude got all this money from the Miami Dolphins. But, what are your thoughts on that?
I'm happy for him. I'm absolutely happy for him because, look, when we saw this guy as a rookie, it was obvious that they put him out there way before he was ready. One of the biggest faults that I fault the Titans of 2022, I guess it was, I fault that team for was not having a veteran backup quarterback that you could rely on to get you through if something happened to Ryan Tannehill. And so they had to go and sign Josh Dobbs off of somebody's practice squad because they'd run this poor kid, Malik Willis, out there before he was ready, and they nearly ruined the guy. Thank goodness they shipped him off to the Packers, and he was able to salvage his career. It's one of those things where you can't help but be happy for him. And Will Levis is probably looking at that going, raising his hand, going, me next, me next.
Agreed.
Terry, what do you think Will Levis will go for on the open market in terms of trade value?
Probably high end of third, low end of sixth. I mean, I know that's a big, wide gap, but I think some of it is it depends on how many teams are still without a quarterback by the time free agencies runs its course before the draft. And it also depends on if the Titans hold on to him through training camp and let him show what he can do and show that he's healthy. Because remember, he hadn't thrown a pass in a game in over a year. So it's going to be one of those situations where in certain instances, his market value has gotten better because there's now more distance between him and the struggles he had behind a terrible offensive line in 2024. But in other ways, he still needs to go out there and put something on tape that says he can be a quality NFL quarterback before somebody's really going to want to take a chance on him.
So Daniel Jeremiah put out something on Twitter, I think it was towards the end of last week, that the sweet spot for this draft is in between picks 40 and 75, meaning that pick 40 and pick 75 have equivalent value. So if the Titans were to go out and acquire another edge via free agency, I'm not saying that doesn't mean that they don't need to draft one anymore, but let's say they do end up taking Jeremiah Love at number 4, which I am coming around on that idea. Do you think the Titans could then use a second-round pick on an edge rusher? Because I certainly think there are guys like Cassius Howell, Zion Young, TJ Parker, maybe Akeem Mesidor that you could get in the second round and still feel good about.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's always an option. I think whatever you don't get in the first round, as many needs as this team has, if there's plenty of it there in round 2 or even round 3, you kind of got to go and get some of it, I think. And edge rusher, I think they still need to add another receiver, still need to add another corner, still need to add an offensive, for crying out loud, they got to have a center now because they cut Lloyd Cushenberry. So they're either going to go in free agency or they're going to use a draft pick or they're going to groom Jackson Slater and bring back Corey Levin to compete for that job. So somewhere out of all that, they've got to get a center plus a right guard. So, offensive line is not out of the question either. But, yeah, edge rusher, I think, is on the table in any of the first 3 rounds and maybe even a late flyer, on a guy with some upside.
The center position is really interesting because the market is getting thinner by the day. And I just saw that the Packers released Elgton. How do you say Elgton? Is it Elgton?
I'm not real sure how you say it, but the guy
whatever. Jenkins. They released Jenkins. And I've heard the name Dylan Parham, the guy from the Las Vegas Raiders. I've heard that name being thrown around. Why aren't we talking about Cade Mays, who is not being re-signed with the Panthers? He stepped in and played center last year, and I thought did very well. Why aren't we talking about him more?
Well, I think he signed with the Lions. I thought I saw something that said
I
think he did with the Lions.
Okay.
Yeah. And but that certainly was an option that was out there at the outset of free agency. But he pretty quickly went to the Lions, and I guess he's going to fill the center role for them because I think they're moving on from their center as well. So the center situation is going to be interesting. If Jenkins is going to command a lot of money, the question is, do the Titans have one more big payout in them in free agency? I've been told that most of the deals after today will probably be more bargain deals, more lower level deals for depth guys, for guys who can come in and compete for a starting role. But center is a big hole still in the middle of this offense.
And the running, I can't help but think about these different kind of scenarios with running back, because if the Titans end up taking Jeremiah Love, what does that mean for Tony Pollard, or what does that mean for a guy like Tajay Spears?
Well, I think it probably means one of them's out the door. Most likely it's Pollard, who could be a cap cut and save the Titans some money. I think the Titans are in a situation where they got 2 options. They can go for Jeremiah Love at number 4 and bolster the running back spot for the next 5 years at least, assuming he's healthy. Or if they stick with Tony Pollard and Tajay Spears, Tony Pollard's reached the point in his career now where he probably needs to be 1B, and they need to find a 1A, either in the draft in the middle rounds, or somewhere in free agency. So if you pair Tony Pollard with somebody else, then Tajay Spears becomes your third down back. And inherits that role only, and which would probably cut into the number of carries he had, but probably should increase the number of receptions that he has. But I think the thing with Tajay Spears is he hasn't shown the ability to consistently run between the tackles like you need a running back, a lead back, or even a co-lead back to do.
Yeah, and what about the availability issues with Tajay Spears? Because that's something that gives me concern. And I know, Tony Pollard's getting up there in age for a running back, but Tajay Spears, I really liked him at Tulane. He's just not been available as much as he needs to be for the Titans. So that gives me concern.
Terry got 1 minute.
Concussion issues, and that certainly is a red flag for any player, and should be, for their safety and the concern of their health. But, he's been effective when he's been in space, but I just don't know that he can be relied on to carry the ball, 150 times a year.
Hey, you were good to do this. Thank you as always.
All right. Thanks for having me, guys. Have a good one.
Terry McCormick, Main Street Media and TitanInsider.com. Okay, Kelly, I've got, let's say, 45 seconds. Your thoughts on how they've done early?
It seems like pretty good. But you never truly know, George. We thought Ladarius Sneed was going to be a pickup that, a couple of years ago that would have worked out, and it did not. He came from Kansas City, and he had a good career there. So you never truly know, and we never know behind the scenes what's going on. We talked about it the other day with the Alante Taylor kid. He did well in New Orleans, and he's from here. I remember playing him in high school. He was a quarterback. He was very athletic, goes to Tennessee. So I think they've done well, George. I think there's a lot of familiarity. I think that's what Terry brought up with these coaches, and I think that helps the team.
Taylor Barnett's in the On Deck Circle. We'll talk hoops next on the George Plaster Show.
Hey guys, Big Joe here, proud member of the Beehive Club at Busy Bee. You should be one as well.
Listen, March is off and rolling. Check out this deal.
When you purchase a 16-SEER high-efficiency HVAC system or a whole home repipe, you receive a Yeti Tundra 45 cooler.
Man, I love Busy Bee HVAC.
Call 775-7833.
Looking for cold drinks, hot food, and every game on big screens? Head to All Seasons Sports Grill in White House, your neighborhood hangout for game day and every day. From crispy wings and juicy burgers to hand-cut steaks and loaded apps, there's something for everyone. Pair it with ice-cold beer, cocktails, and non-stop sports action. Bring your crew, grab a seat, and stay a while. Right here at All Seasons Sports Grill, where the food is hot, the drinks are cold, the game is always on, and you make the call.
The official Nashville St. Patrick's Day Parade and Festival is coming up Saturday, March 14th, right here in Music City. The parade steps off at 10 a.m. in the heart of 5 Points in East Nashville. And new this year, stick around for the free, family-friendly Irish Village, featuring local vendors, food trucks, drinks, and live Irish music until 5 p.m. Presented by Visit Music City and Aer Lingus, Ireland's national airline with nonstop flights from Nashville to Ireland and Europe. More at IrishNetworkNashville.org. Happy St. Patrick's Day, y'all.
Hey, it's Woody and Jim. When it comes to your car, who's working on it matters.
At Wilson Tire and Auto, they pay their mechanics top dollar. Why? So they can hire and keep the best technicians in town, and that means better work done right the first time.
Needed fast? They offer same-day service on most repairs. Approved repair? You may even qualify for a free loaner car to keep your day moving. All repairs come with a 5-year, 50,000-mile warranty.
Not exactly sure what's wrong with your car? Get a free 15-minute no-wrench inspection.
Wilson Tire and Auto on Murfreesboro Pike near Briley Parkway. Quality people, honest service, back on the road today.
Tell them Woody and Jim sent you.
This week's Nashville's best deal is a $25 gift card for only $12.50 from Barrel House in Mount Juliet, a true bourbon lover's destination. With an impressive selection of bourbons and handcrafted cocktails, it's the perfect place to unwind and discover your new favorite pour. And nothing pairs better with great bourbon than one of Barrel House's perfectly cooked steaks. Get a $25 gift card for only $12.50 at thegamenashville.com/deals.
At DePauw University, curiosity has no limits. In the College of Liberal Arts and Sciences, students ask bold questions and connect big ideas that shape tomorrow. Discover how thinking can take you anywhere. Learn more at depaw.edu.
With no credit check and payments as low as $20 a week, why wait to upgrade your home? At Electronic Express, get everything you need, from premium appliances and TVs to gaming systems and more. Whether it's building your dream home theater or updating your kitchen, we make it affordable and easy. With over 40 years in business, trust us for the best selection, service, and guaranteed low prices. Shop online or at any of our 22 locations across Tennessee and Alabama. Electronic Express, for every moment of your day.
Evan, Canty, and Michelle are unsportsmanlike.
The people that have their pets in strollers. Your pet is not the same thing as my baby in my stroller. Just because you have what you think is a cute dog, it should not be treated the same as my baby in the stroller. I have a human baby. You have a pet baby. Those are not the same. I'm sorry.
Unsportsmanlike. Weekday mornings starting at 6 Eastern on ESPN Radio and on ESPN2.
Your sports live here. WBUZ HD3 Laverne. All around the world on the Game Nashville app. We are the Game Nashville Sports Network, ESPN 94.9, The Fan, a Cromwell media station.
It's the George Plaster Show. Your sports live here on 94.9 The Fan.
Well done, Brando, and the bump music. Welcome back into the George Plaster Show. Now time for our stat of the day, brought to you by Apple Collision Center. What is the longest game in NCAA Division I men's basketball history?
So, Kelly, I don't know this for sure, but there was a five overtime game that involved Syracuse in the old Big East Conference in the tournament at Madison Square Garden. Because I don't know a better answer. It's Syracuse and somebody.
Yeah, that's the only answer that I know, George. You go with it.
Syracuse versus somebody.
Syracuse versus somebody.
Mm-hmm.
Wrong.
Oh, wow.
It's Cincinnati beating Bradley in 7 overtime, 75-73.
1981.
4 days before Christmas? 1981.
You know, I would think there would be some organization that would protest and say, that's inhumane treatment. That's an extra 35 minutes. Meaning they played 75 minutes.
Wow.
Some guard out there got tossed. Yeah, play a fifth overtime. Got tossed out there to play.
Never played in his life.
To play a seventh. Wow. That is quite the stat. My 5 overtime deal was not all that far off. Kelly, I think it's at least worth, what would you say, honorable mention?
Absolutely honorable mention. We got to get something. That's a hard question.
Yeah, it is.
That's a really hard question.
Okay. We are now officially into the 4 o'clock hour. From our digs at the Fordyce Center in Bellevue, I'll tell you right up front, I'm going to open the phone lines around 4:25. It's been a long time since I've had a chance to talk to you all, and there's a lot of yapping to be done. I am assuming that Taylor Barnette is ready and rare.
Not sure. We can find out, though.
Okay. Taylor, are you there?
No.
Taylor is not.
Taylor's not here.
Okay. Did I hear something there that sounded like it?
Now we got him.
Okay. Now Taylor Barnette is present and accounted for. Taylor, how are you?
George, I'm doing great, man. How you doing today?
Oh, we've got a picture of you. Really nice looking picture. Says on the
Wearing
phone.
a suit.
Yeah, wearing a suit. a tie that actually looked like it matched fairly. I mean, it's hard to butcher a blue suit deal. So, yeah, it's very special.
Good. That's good. I'm glad.
So let's start with the fact that the SEC tournament is here in town, and we're coming off a result that will have sort of a mixed bag of thoughts. Vandy wins in Knoxville against Tennessee. On one hand, the big guy doesn't play, Nate Ament. And it really was not until shortly before game time that anybody knew that. But let's talk the Vandy side of this. To me, it cinches that they're going to be a 5 seed, even without Ament. How big a win is this for them?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a huge win. They lost him earlier in the year at home. And to go down there in a rivalry game and win in a packed house at Thompson Bowl Arena it's a really, really big win. I think that whether that guy plays or not, it's next man up mentality, and they still got the job done in a hostile environment. So I still think it's a great win and a lot to be proud of.
So for a couple of weeks, I have thought that their tank has been a little closer to empty than I would want to admit. But all of a sudden, you got back-to-back road wins at Ole Miss, at Tennessee for the long term. In other words, SEC tournament and beyond. Where do you think they are right now?
Yeah, I think they're in a really good spot. I think Duke Miles has been back a few games now. I feel like he's gotten his win back. He's in the starting lineup again, starting to play better and get a feel from coming off injury. And I think that makes all the difference in their team. Gives them another ball handler in the lineup. I think Tyler Tanner was, his usage rate had to be the most in the country for that span of time that he was out. Now that he's back, I think, Tyler's got some freshness about him, and I think they're in a really good position going into the SEC tournament and more importantly into the NCAA tournament.
Okay, on the Tennessee side of this, when Nate Ament isn't around, like any superstar with any team, they're not as good, and they don't appear to be close to as good. How big a concern is that?
Yeah, I would be really concerned. Tennessee already, I think, has some struggles, scoring the basketball. And, Jacoby Gillespie had a hard time, buying a bucket the other night. And, if he's not making shots and you're missing Nate Ament, it's going to be hard to win. And you really got to rely on your defense, which they do every year in and year out. It's really, really, really good. But their ceiling is way lower when Nate Ament is not playing. And I'm not sure if he's supposed to come back for the NCAA tournament or not. I don't know if you bring him back if he's 75, 80% for that, or just hold him off until the NCAA tournament. But their ceiling is, in my opinion, a lot higher when he's in the game, and gives them a serious offensive threat that they need.
And for sure he's won when the shot clock's inside of 10, because the game 2 weeks ago here, no Ament, they don't win. I mean, that shot he hits in the final, whatever it was, 90 seconds was insane. He's really good.
He is. Yeah, I think you're talking about that turnaround at, with like 2 seconds on the shot clock from like the left wing.
That I don't believe 5 people in college hit.
Right. No, that was extremely difficult. And that's, having a guy like him who's that talented that can make those types of plays are the type of guys you have to have in March to win. In my opinion, you've got to have some guys that can separate themselves and that have that type of skill level in order to get you where you want to go.
So, Taylor, let me kind of toss this whole thought out at you and see what you think, because it may apply to Tennessee. I don't pretend to know his health status. I know when I hear the words high ankle sprain, that's a concern. To me, we've gotten to a point where the top 6 or 7 teams in the SEC could sit there and say, okay, at worst, we're going to lose 1 seed line, and at best, like winning the whole thing, we're going to gain 1 seed line. Why take the risk?
Yeah. No, I think that's totally fair. I mean, the worst thing that could happen is, Nate Ament plays and he's at 75% and he rolls it again. And then now he's going to be at 60 to 70% for the first round of the NCAA tournament. I think that, if you're him and you're that team and you're Coach Barnes, you want him as close to 100% as he can possibly be for that first round and that first weekend of the NCAA tournament.
Okay, let me do this one and then I'll turn it over to Kelly. I was stunned Friday when I saw the final score. I knew Belmont was in trouble at halftime. They were down 8. I'm guessing there becomes a little bit of a panic when you're in a, scenario in a league where you feel pretty confident it's a 1-bid league and you got to win it all and you're not winning it all, and then people's deodorants don't work. Is that sort of the way it played out?
Yeah, I mean, I feel for those guys, for Coach Alexander, the rest of the staff, for those players. I mean, it's just a really hard situation. It's unfortunate that in those 1-bid leagues that you do the harder thing by winning the regular season conference championship, and then you don't get to go to the NCAA tournament because you get upset by a team you've already beaten twice. And if you're Drake in that scenario, you have a losing record. You're out there playing loose. You've already played 1 game. You got nothing to lose. And it's just they caught fire. Those 2 guards that Jalen Quinn in particular. He was just hard to keep in front. And I think he shot 16 free throws and. So it's a bummer. I really feel for those guys, and because I do think this Belmont team was really special. They have a ton to be proud of, and they got something to look forward to in the NIT. It's not the NCAA tournament, but that team is absolutely capable of winning an NIT championship.
Kelly, are you able to see this picture of Taylor?
I do, yeah. He looks a little bit like Skolnick off Revenge of the Nerds.
Hey, find a different joke, Kelly. Very original.
It always works, Parker. And why don't you just sit over there and do what you do and not worry about it? You're supposed to be not heard at all or not seen at all, maybe heard a little bit. Taylor.
So, in other words, you're going to let him know when he should be heard.
I can't see Kelly anymore. Where'd he go?
Did you get rid of him?
Yeah.
Put him back on?
See, here's the thing. It needs to be me and George, and you need to see your way out of it. So, Taylor.
I'm voting for that, too. 2-0.
Of course you are. Of course you are.
So Taylor, let's talk about that a little bit more, because I brought that up earlier. In my alma mater here at Middle Tennessee, Kermit Davis had a season like Belmont just had. I think they won like 26 games, and they won the regular season championship, but did not win the tournament championship. And I know they're in one of these lower conferences. I understand that. But like at some point, like why are we like some point the conference championship in the regular season's got to mean something? And George was talking about it earlier before you came on. Maybe they're going to expand this tournament, the NCAA tournament at some point, and maybe that leaves more room for the smaller guys. But George just talked about it. Like, you get a little bit trying a little bit too hard when a game goes like that, and you know that everything's on the line, because if we don't win the conference tournament championship, we have no shot at going to the NCAA tournament. I just think something's got to change at some point with that.
Yeah, I mean, you bring up a good point. I believe it was the Ivy League that used to do it, where the team that won the regular season went to the tournament. And I'm not saying that's the solution. I think part of the specialness of March Madness is the upsets, is the Cinderella story, right? I think where it gets a little complicated and, and a little frustrating is, in the Power Four conferences, there's teams that are 500 and they make the NCAA tournament. And obviously the strength of schedule plays into that a ton. But it's kind of like, well, does that, they're 500. They've lost half their games. Should they really be in? And it goes back a couple years ago. Indiana State is in the Missouri Valley. They had a historic year, and they were ranked, I think, 28th or 29th in the net. And at one point were ranked in the top 25 and they didn't get in. So I think there's a lot of things to consider. If you expand the tournament, does it make it less special? You could argue that. So I don't know what the solution is, but I do think it is unfortunate that oftentimes every year the team that does the harder thing in winning, the regular season conference championship over the course of 18 games, gets upset and doesn't get in the tournament. And so you're not having the best representation from your conference in the tournament. And I think there's something to be said about that.
So let's go a little bit further with that, because let me bring this up again, because it kind of drove Kermit Davis out of middle. I mean, when he had that kind of year and they didn't win the conference tournament championship and he was that good, it kind of drove Kermit to say, hey, I'm never going to make it here with what I want to do. So he goes to Ole Miss. And then do you think, and I know you can't speak for him, but do you think that makes Casey Alexander start thinking, hey, if I want to, do this? Now, I know he's a Belmont guy and he loves obviously Nashville, and I don't know if he wants to stay, but I'm sure he does. But do you think that gives him second thoughts about saying, hey, I've done all I can do here, and we won the conference championship, didn't win the tournament championship, but do I need to start looking at something else? Because, he's a really good coach, and we all know that, and he could probably go anywhere he wants if somebody comes calling. But do you think that makes him think about that just a little bit more?
Yeah, maybe. I don't know for sure, but if I was in his position, I'm definitely thinking, well, if there's an opportunity that comes up where there's 10 teams that get in from this league and I could get one of those jobs, then, well, it might be a lot easier to some degree to get in the tournament from that position. But, I really don't know. And, the flip side of that, though, is I'm not sure if Kermit Davis made an NCAA tournament at Ole Miss. I could be wrong, but I don't know.
He did not.
So,
no, I don't think he did.
It's still really hard, and that's the thing is I'm not going to say that there's good jobs and bad jobs, but there's jobs out there that are a lot easier to win at than others. For instance, the ACC, 2 jobs have come open: Georgia Tech and Boston College. Those are really hard jobs to win at, and to make the NCAA tournament at. So there's pros and cons to everything. The grass isn't always greener. The pressure is much higher when you go and you're at the Power 4, Power 5 conferences, where, the expectations come, are a lot higher. But I'll say this again. I think I said this a week ago, is I think Casey Alexander is a phenomenal basketball coach, a phenomenal human being, and AD should be calling.
So you kind of just brought this up, but you talked about Georgia Tech and Boston College being hard places to win. How many teams? Because we've asked Lee Fowler, and he talks about this quite a bit on our show when he comes on Thursdays. But how many teams truly have an opportunity to win the whole thing at March Madness?
Oh man, I don't know. Maybe at this point, I think it's changed in the last few years. Because of NIL, I do. I think, I guess maybe what I would say is I think it's going to come from one of the 4 conferences, and what's in those conferences, I think, maybe 2 to 3 teams is the way that I would maybe think about it.
Okay, so my last thing here, and y'all kind of brought this up earlier, but I can remember growing up, and I understand that things have changed since George and I were younger. I understand, because, I remember watching Whip Sanderson, all those guys back in the day, and everybody wanted to win their conference championships. But you just talked about the Ament kid, and how Rick Barnes, might want to save him. Are these coaches having to think about that? Because I think that's a sad situation in our game. I don't think they're worried about winning conference championships anymore. It's all about the big deal. And coaches are now having to worry about that instead of, hey, we want to win an SEC championship. It was all about winning an SEC championship back in the 70s and 80s when I was growing up. And then if we got to the NCAA tournament, that was just a special deal. But now coaches are having to, with the NIL and with transfer stuff, they're having to have their organization worry about all this stuff and trying to get to the big thing instead of worrying about their conference championships. Is that where we're at?
Yeah, I mean, I think that any coach would tell you that they want to compete and they want to win their conference championship, regular season and the tournament. And I think, any high major coach, I think their number one aspiration is to win a national championship. And so I think that if you ask any fan base, would you rather win an SEC championship or a national championship? They're going to say a national championship. And so I think unless you're a team, if Tennessee was on the bubble and Nate Ament is at 75%, I think he plays. Because it's like, man, hey, we need to win a game. We need to win a game to get in, and I think that is where we are at. But yeah, I mean, it's different. If they're in, they don't have to win a game in order for them to get in the tournament. So I think if he's not fully healthy, I don't really know if he plays or not.
Taylor, do games like we saw yesterday between Queens and Central Arkansas and Tennessee State, like when they played in the OVC championship, should those games be on campus?
That's a great question. I do think, first and foremost, super happy for TSU and Coach Smith and those guys. I think it's the first time NCAA tournament since 93, 94, and just super impressive by Coach Smith coming in there and being able to take over in the fall and get those guys organized and win that conference championship. And I'm really happy for those guys. But back to your question, I do think there is an advantage. The ASUN just switched from that, and
right.
Queens in their first year of eligibility got the job done, which is pretty impressive. But I do think it should go back to the higher seeds home court, because I think you earn the right to have that advantage by the way that you perform in the regular season. I do think that's a good way of kind of tipping your hat to the higher seed.
I saw this stat earlier today, and I can't remember off the top of my head, but it was basically kind of the big boys and the Big East, their record versus some of the mid-major schools. And this question got thrown around a lot last year when we had all number one seeds in the Final Four that, well, is NIL and transfer portal, is it starting to ruin college basketball? And I think it's too early to make a definitive statement, because teams like St. Peter's and Princeton both made runs during the NIL era. But I'll ask you, do you think NIL and transfer portal can ruin kind of the Cinderella aspect of March Madness?
I don't know. There's still some really, really good teams. And here's the thing is, you can have a lot of NIL money and a lot of resources, but not have the ability to really put together a good roster. And you might not have as many resources, but you find some diamonds in the rough and you get guys to play together, and all of a sudden you become a better team. So I don't think so. I think there's still so much that, and it could work against you. I mean, the highest, NIL budget in the Missouri Valley is Murray State, and they lost 8 of their last 12. It's a lot of guys to keep happy. So if you're going to, pay a lot of money for guys, it also comes with a responsibility that, guys have expectations. And when those expectations aren't met, well, what happens? Do guys stay together? I don't know. So you still have a long way to go, even if you just go out and buy a bunch of players. You got to still make them play together, play hard, and become a team. And so there's still a lot of challenges with it.
And this will be my last question. Is there a team outside of the top 4? The new AP poll just came out today. It's Duke, Arizona, Michigan, and Florida, as we expected, with UConn losing to Marquette over the weekend. So UConn's now at number 6. Is there a team outside of that top 4 that can compete with those 4 number 1 seeds for a national championship?
And that's a great question. I think there's a few teams to consider. I still think UConn is really, really good. I would not want to be a part of Dan Hurley's practices over the next few days. I'm sure those have been spirited, to say the least. And he'll have those guys ready to go. And I think that St. John's, Coach Pitino, I don't think anybody really wants to coach against him or, in the NCAA tournament. I think that, those guys seem to always be playing their best basketball at the end of the year. It'll be interesting to see how that Big East tournament shapes up. And then another team, I think that, it's had its ups and downs, and it's going to depend on, one guy and Darren Peterson. But I think Kansas has proven that they can beat anybody if they're playing well. And I think it will depend a little bit on him and if he can stay healthy and really lock in.
Taylor, you were a good man to do this today. The picture of you, I think, very positive. Clean. Put the picture up again.
He's looking really dapper.
Very clean look. But I do wonder if the coat's a rental.
Taylor, go back and watch the live stream when you get the chance, and you'll see the picture that we're talking about.
Hey, we'll do. You should send me a screenshot, okay? How's that, Parker?
Okay, I'll do that.
Taylor, thanks.
All right, y'all have a great day.
See you, brother.
Taylor Barnette joining us here on the show. Kelly, I got one for you before we go to the break and then to phone calls.
What's up?
Do you believe that in the next 3 years that a fairly well-known school will hold a press conference to say we are tapped out?
Oh, wow. I knew you were going to ask me that, man. I don't.
Makes you think, doesn't it, Kelly?
Yeah, it truly does. I don't. Yeah, I don't know, George. You could be onto something there, man. I don't know. I don't know how the big schools would. I don't know. Like, we're in a I don't know world right now because I don't think anybody knows. And I don't know if y'all saw that. Did y'all see the deal with Nick Saban going in front of, going up to talk to some Congress people about
with Trump?
Yeah, with Trump talking about all that, which he's totally right, which we've talked about it on this show. But it could happen, George. I don't know how it can right now with the big schools, but, we're in the I don't know culture.
Can you
and
imagine?
I'm not sure how that happens, but I could see that happening because, the money's run dry, the wells run dry, and they just say, hey, we can't do this anymore.
Okay. It has been a while since I've been able to tap into the resource that is y'all. Phone calls, red-blooded Americans. I want to hear from you, and I want to hear from you now at 615-759-9949. Again, 615-759-9949. You take it wherever you want to take it, as long as it's sports. I'm looking forward to talking to some of you next on the George Plaster Show.
When I got my first car, my dad told me, keep the gas tank full and my number on speed dial. Now parents are telling their kids, save 615-242-9000 just in case. I'm Blair Durham. If you or someone you love is in a wreck, call us. We're here to get you the money you deserve.
It's easy to say good things about the folks at Strike and Spare Family Fun Centers. Number one, I trust them with something that's near and dear to me, the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night. But more importantly, I see the fun people have. They enjoy the bowling, they enjoy the camaraderie, and you will too. Come by any of their locations and get ready to have some fun. Venture Express has been helping people in this area for more than 40 years. They're headquartered in Murfreesboro with over 30 years of dedicated fleets involving production, manufacturing, and corrugated experiences. They're an asset-based company with over 700 tractors, 4,000 trailers, and 800 drivers. If you need their help, dial them up 615-793-9500 or log on to ventureexpress.com. You've heard me talk about the putting zone. Well, guess what? It's now open, and it offers a revolutionary indoor golf experience featuring state-of-the-art putting surfaces designed to replicate real-world course conditions. It allows players of all skill levels to practice, compete in tournaments, and connect year-round. Go by and see them at 3040 Sidco Drive and tell them Plaz sent you. 375 or go online. Medical House Calls. Are you looking for expert medical care in Nashville without leaving your home? Medical House Calls brings concierge-level health care directly to your door. Whether you need urgent attention, ongoing primary care, revitalizing IV therapy, or medically guided weight loss, our experienced providers are just a phone call away at 615-838-2375 or go online, medicalhousecalls.com.
ESPN Radio lives here. Your sports live here on ESPN 94.9 The Fan.
Well, it's becoming pretty clear that the Titans are paying a lot of attention to Brian Daboll. Here's the latest.
The Tennessee Titans are signing center Austin Schlottman to a one-year deal per the NFL Network. He comes over from New York, where he worked with Titans offensive line coach Carmen Brasillo and offensive coordinator Brian Daboll.
Okay.
There you go. Familiarity, man.
The Tennessee Giants making moves today.
Does seem that way. Tony in Nolensville, get us started. Welcome into the show.
Good afternoon, gentlemen. Glad to see the band back together.
Yeah.
Kelly, glad you had a good, safe trip. And
thank you.
Yeah, I told my wife just last night, Kelly, we've been planning a trip, and I said, I'm not sure I want to get on an airplane right now, the way things are. It's
crazy, man.
And then hear your story. That'd be crazy. Guys, y'all talking about a lot of ball. I've got 2 or 3 things here I'm going to cover real quick. First of all, my Austin Peay Governors, they faltered. They fell on their face the day after Belmont fell on their face, and after the Vanderbilt women fell on their face planted. However, the Austin Peay women are playing right now for the ASUN Championship if they advance to the big dance. I hope they can pull it off. They're playing on ESPNU. I do not have a score, so Parker, if you could maybe get a score for us, be nice.
The Austin Peay women?
Austin Peay women are playing.
All right. I'll work on that.
Jacksonville, I think.
Guys, last week.
21-17, Austin Peay trails Jacksonville.
All right. Thank you, Parker. We lost a giant, even though he was a little man, in Lou Holtz. I think we all loved a lot of his sayings. 2 or 3 that stuck with me, I'd like to say them, George, if you don't mind, was life is 10% of what happens to you and 90% of how you respond to it. I thought that is so classic. And as
that's
far as
pretty good.
Problems, why share no one wants to hear your problems. Everybody's got them. So 90% of people glad you got them, and the other 10% don't care. So
that's right. That's correct.
That's hilarious.
And another one he said that stuck always I liked. He always said, it's never a wrong time to do the right thing, but it's never a good time to do the wrong thing. I mean, the guy was unbelievable with sayings and that type of thing. So thank you for letting me recant him. now talking about some sports, guys. We've got March Madness coming up. George, I looked this up the other day. I was curious to how much money the NCAA makes from March Madness. And currently what was stated was over $1 billion a year. And 85% of that is the total revenue that the NCAA operates on each year.
Wow.
And the money that comes in from corporate TV and ticket sales is what primarily makes up the over $1 billion. That's crazy to think, guys.
It's a lot of money.
And, a lot of money. And Saturday morning, I don't know if you saw her, but she's a great ESPN reporter. George, you might know her, Heather Dinich. She stated she went up there to Washington the other day when they had the great sports summit meeting, the Dog and Pony Show. She said it's unbelievable. She said she's been all over. She's been covering sports 35 years. She had easier access getting into the White House than you do trying to get to the NCAA selection committee. She said it's unbelievable.
Wow.
And that's what she said. She said so. And we all know, Kelly, you've said it numerous times, if they can't fix things among themselves, what Washington needs to be fixing, they damn sure not going to be able to fix what's going on in college football. I applaud the group, but I don't get a bunch of minds to think and one thing, but all you're going to do is just create more lawsuits. And I don't know what the ending solution is going to be to this, but at least they're once again talking about it and trying to get something done with it. So, you know, when you hear all the numbers that are out there that transpire with all of the stuff, George, I was thinking about this weekend. When you get, and Marty Smith said this the other day, there's a large difference in equalization in recognizing all the sports that need to be paid, all the athletes, as opposed to equal pay. And when you get one side fighting against the other side of that, and then somewhere along that fog is Title IX that's involved with all this, this is going to just, guys, I think it's a mess that's gotten too far away from us. And I don't know if we can put, George, I love your saying, get the toothpaste back. Right. Well, the tournament's coming up, guys. I wanted to talk to you, and good seeing the band back together. So, you know, I just hope that we can see Vanderbilt do something positive in the tournament. They got a good seed. But, George, you and I know our history in the SEC tournament is not real stellar.
Not
so
great.
Win at least one game. Guys, I know you're busy, got a lot of calls. I'm going to get off here. Thank you, George.
Hey, thank you for the call. Kelly, we used to have the running joke. Back in the 80s, Vandy had a series of out the first night. We'd be packing up, leaving, right as Kentucky would walk. Hey, how y'all doing? We're going home. It happened a few times. Jeff in Murfreesboro, you're up next.
How you on, George?
Good. How are you?
Pretty good. I was going to say, Kermit Davis made the turn his first year at Ole Miss and got blown out in the first round about 30. I don't know, being 30, 40 points in rest time. He couldn't do anything because when he took the Ole Miss job, he admitted, he said, if I don't get it done here in 4 or 5 years, I'll be gone. That's what happened to him. He was fired in 4 or 5. It took him about 10 years to get it done in Middle. He admitted, he said, I'm not going to have 10, 12 years like I had in Middle Tennessee to get things done. So that's why he's not coaching anymore. As Greg Pogue says, he's counting his money and all this, you know. He doesn't want to coach anymore. And Pogue and Dubin were proud he got that job to get the cash and all this. That's what they were proud of him, to get the cash from Ole Miss and all his business. So he's just counting his cash and probably living off interest, whatever he's doing. But as far as that goes, but no, it's March, you know, everything. So and all that stuff. You know, watched the big Kentucky-Florida game Saturday. Watched the first half. Watched the worst flagrant foul call I've ever seen in my life. against Kentucky. They were up 20-19. They scored 13 in a row. Then Kentucky tried to come back. I think they were down 5 late in the game. Florida had their foot on the line. They wouldn't go back and look at it. Of course, I really don't care about replay, but Kentucky still lost. They got to play the first game of the tournament, which and the first game of the album, the last time. They've probably never done it, and everything. But also, George, I know there's a lot of weather and stuff. But do you remember the tornado in Atlanta? They had to go to Georgia
Gosh,
Tech.
do I ever. Yeah, I was there.
You remember how bad the Kentucky fans were? Couldn't get in there.
Oh, yeah, because when they moved to Georgia Tech, there was only a certain number of, I guess, tickets they would allot or whatever. In the game, the first game that was to be played was Georgia, Kentucky. And,
all those Kentucky fans spend all that money. Like I said, they spend, that's their vacation to spend all that money. And they got tossed out because that tornado, and they said, well, we can't play in there because too much damage and all this stuff. So they had to go to Georgia Tech and play. And it was a disaster, of course. Georgia ended up winning they won 2 games in one day and won the tournament and things like that. So it's one of those things that, I don't know if it'll happen here in Nashville, but I hope it doesn't. But if it does, it does. I guess that's kind of oxymoron. But and I want to tell Kelly too. Kelly, March it doesn't matter, does it? Because football is what makes everything go round. I mean, I know a lot of schools lose money at basketball. They don't make money. They just kind of, $1 billion the NCAA gets it. It's not a lot of money, but and everything. So I know football is what turns everything around in the world. That basketball don't mean much until March and April, and after April it will start talking about it in January again. So y'all have a good one, guys. See y'all. Enjoy March Madness. See you.
Thank you. What was the number I saw? The SEC released, I guess it was it last May that they released to the schools like over $70 million to each of the SEC schools, and that's about $20 million a year more than they had been getting.
Wow.
Yep.
Can you imagine?
Nope.
That's a ton of money.
I'd be happy with $1 million.
Yeah, we'll take a percentage of it. Okay, after the break, I want to ask Eric to hang with us. Clay, you do the same. We'll get to both of you next on the George Plaster Show.
When I got my first car, my dad told me, keep the gas tank full and my number on speed dial. Now parents are telling their kids, save 615-242-9000 just in case. I'm Blair Durham. If you or someone you love is in a wreck, call us. We're here to get you the money you deserve.
As the trusted premier custom home builder in Middle Tennessee, Donnelly Timmons has over 20 years of experience in the industry. Whether you're looking to build your dream home or renovate your current home, their team will ensure that every client and every remodel is unique, luxurious, and completed on time within budget. Founders Dustin Timmons and Joey Donnelly have over 25 years of construction experience in the Nashville area. Together, they have completed projects in Forest Hills, Oak Hill, Green Hills, Franklin, and Brentwood. Dustin and Joey believe that communication is the most important aspect of all construction projects. Therefore, they personally manage each project themselves and are involved in job site activities on a daily basis. Their commitment to quality and integrity has earned them an outstanding reputation among their clients. Contact them to set an appointment for a free consultation or to view some of their completed projects. Give them a call at 615-456-7983 or log on to DonnellyTimmons.com.
Sports and Social in Green Hills Mall is the new home for our Football Night in Nashville promotion. Their food is terrific. Their TV setup looks like a racing sports book in Vegas. And if you're a sports fan, you can't beat it. Starting September the 4th, we'll broadcast from Sports and Social every Thursday night. There's Pop-A-Shot, great football, and the chance to win a beautiful Mikey's Motors golf cart. See you at Sports and Social in Green Hills Mall. If you are paying too much for your health insurance, you know what? You need to contact the folks at Pancos Benefits. Pancoast works with businesses and individuals to tackle the high cost of health insurance. Whether you're a business owner, large or small, self-employed, between jobs, or over the age of 65 and in need of a Medicare plan, Pancoast can help. They make understanding your benefits less difficult and more personal. So check them out today, pancoastbenefits.com, or call them at 615-292-3400. Green Hills Mall.
It's the George Plaster Show.
Your sports live here on 94.9 The Fan.
By the way, we'll be at Sports and Social on Thursday watching a little hoops, little SEC basketball. Kelly, it may have been a while since you and I have gotten together. I've always tried to be very full service. This is what the radar looks like right now to the southwest of us.
Yeah, my wife just told me it's coming, man.
Coming.
We must have had some bad stuff over here the other day, like this past Saturday, because one of my neighbors told me that we had some wind shear in our neighborhood that took 3 of his trees down. I'm like, I did not know that.
Yeah, I know a little something about that.
Kelly, I was supposed to play volleyball tomorrow outside. That looks like it's not going to happen.
You need to probably not do that.
Yep. 75% chance of rain and thunderstorms.
Let's go to Eric on line 3. Eric, how are you?
George, first of all, I want to say welcome back to the airwaves. Missed you, buddy, and I'm glad you're back on with the guys and that you're recovering from that issue that you had, George. It's always good to have you on.
Thank you.
George, before I get to what I wanted to talk about, I first of all wanted to apologize because I probably sound a little bit funny on the phone. I'm lisping a little bit. I had some dental work done on Friday where I had to get some teeth pulled, and then I had some temporary dentures put in. I took them out last night, and I'm supposed to go back Wednesday for some different ones. So I'm probably sounding a little bit funny. I feel like a combination of Sylvester the Cat and Daffy Duck.
I thought you were going to give me a little Lou Holt.
No. I'm not going to do that, George. So that's kind of why I'm lisping a little bit and sound a little bit funny on the phone airway. So I just want to apologize up front for that. But guys, a couple of things I want to talk about. I'm going to get to NFL free agency in a minute, but I wanted to talk about the college basketball. One of the things is, and of course, first of all, I will say congratulations to TSU for making the NCAA tournament for the first time in more than 30 years. Big shout out to them. I'm real happy for them. But the one thing I want to talk about was Belmont. And of course, they lost by 21 points, and they really don't deserve a bid. But of course, one of the reasons why they went to the Missouri Valley Conference was they were going to a bid league where they hopefully could get more than one bid. And so far, that's worked out. But the one thing, of course, that's hurt Belmont is Belmont has tried to schedule a lot of these bigger schools, but they won't play them. And it's like, what can you do if schools won't play you? I could be wrong because everybody talked about Miami, Ohio's schedule, which is like, I think 282nd. But I think they've run the same problem where a lot of the bigger schools don't want to play them or stuff like that. And it's tough when you're trying to do everything you can to make the tournament. And they have this great record, but of course, they don't make the tournament because a lot of people don't want to play them. A lot of people wonder if Casey Alexander could get frustrated like some of these other schools or coaches from like smaller conferences decide to go to a bigger conference school because you can't get in the tournament. And one of the reasons, of course, he left the OVC was to go to a conference where you thought you'd get more than one team, and it just seems to hasn't worked out.
The Missouri Valley used to get more than one. By the way, let me throw this out here since you've kind of brought it up. Tennessee State is announcing that they will have a Sunday selection watch party at Gentry Center. Doors opening at 4 p.m. Kelly, admission is right up your alley. It's free.
There we go.
Yeah, and George, what type of seed do you get? I think they're going to get. I've heard some people say they could get a 15 or 16 seed, and some say they think whoever they play. I mean, I don't know if it's 16 would they have a shot at a 1, but some are saying that it's 15. They could have a shot at a 2, but just wanted to get your thoughts on their seed, and then I was going to get to the NFL free agency.
Yeah, it's either a 15 or a 16. and I think they're better than that. What I saw over the weekend really impressed me. They looked 10 points better than the rest of that league. The league, the committee will not look very favorably on the league. The league just doesn't bring much to the table anymore.
Yeah, I think you're right, George. And now for the NFL free agency, a couple of things, because they were talking about Brian Daboll and his influence to sign a couple of Giants. In fact, one of the players, I guess it was the wide receiver that they signed. I heard a report, and you may have heard this too, he was all set to go with the Giants, but apparently he had a talk with Robert Saleh. He listened and liked Robert Saleh's vision, and at the last minute changed his mind, decided to sign with the Titans. I'd heard that. I didn't know if you had heard that or not. And, of course, Brian Daboll being there certainly helps. The other thing, I just want to get your thoughts. I'm not going to ask you who you thought the losers are, but who do you think so far today, or would you say it's a team or teams were the biggest winners today? George, I'll get off, let you get to Clay. Guys, y'all take care, and we'll talk to you soon.
It's a really good question. Does it have a really good answer?
I don't think so yet.
This is unfair, but I love the 49ers and the wide receiver move of
Mike Evans.
Mike Evans.
Yeah.
Man, I still think Evans has got tread on the tire, got something in the tank.
Yeah.
Whatever you want to throw out there, the guy makes plays.
And he's going to a place where he's got an established guy as a quarterback right now. He's got a good play caller that can get him the ball. It's a different offense that he's been in. But, yeah, the 49ers seem like they do things right.
Shanahan's one of the best red zone guys in NFL history, I think. So you get a 3-year deal for Mike Evans, and he got some gas left in the tank to pair him with Ricky Pearsall. I think it's a match made in heaven.
Kelly, guess what's coming in about 6 minutes?
What's that?
The return.
The rapture?
Oh, the
return of the plastered bed of the day.
Oh.
Correct. I have not missed that either, George.
No, I didn't think so. Clay in Nashville, welcome in.
George, I out the top, I have to have a little discussion with my buddy, Mr. Holcomb, if that's okay.
Yes, go right ahead.
Now, Kelly, so you were on vacation last week. Is that accurate?
Well, I mean, you can call it a vacation if you want to. I mean, I went to see my daughter in Belgium, so I had to go across seas, and yeah, I mean, I had fun. It was fun over there. It's a different lifestyle. I enjoyed the lifestyle. People get out and do things. There's a lot of bike riding, a lot of walking. I enjoyed it, but yes, I guess if you want to call it a vacation,
you ride any bikes, Kelly, while you were over there?
Absolutely.
There we go.
Absolutely.
I'd like to have seen that.
Well, I would say,
too.
I would say that is an excused absence, because last week I did ask George if your absence was excused.
Well, I mean, all George has to say is you're fired, and then, you know what? I don't know if he'd be doing me a favor or not, you know?
Well, anyway, on to sports. My day was just made a few minutes ago, and if there's ever a kid that deserved first-team recognition, it's Mr. Tyler Tanner. That really makes me happy. I've never seen a kid, and you being a longtime Vanderbilt fan like me, Vanderbilt basketball, I've never seen a kid take the jump this kid took from his first year to his second year. Here's a kid who had the flu, but yet every night he goes out and lays it on the line, scored 27 points with the flu. Vanderbilt basketball would not be this year where they are without Tyler Tanner.
Oh, you're right about that. There is no question about that. I don't think anybody argues that.
I think they had 4 guards, and Houck, if I'm correct, if I'm pronouncing his name right, and he's a great leader, but I think it was the kid from Alabama. Is it Philbin? And
Philon. LeBaron Philon.
And Gillespie, and the other one's slipping my mind right now, but
give me just 1 second, Clay.
I'm assuming A-Cup from Arkansas.
Gillespie, Houck, Philon, and Tyler Tanner.
Okay, and I believe A-Cup was the player of the year, and Todd Golden was the coach of the year. Is that correct?
Yes.
So, do you think anybody, George, can slow down this Florida train in the SEC tournament?
Probably not. If I was going to pick a team that I'd like to see play them, it's Arkansas again. I mean, if that doesn't get Arkansas's juices going, given that they got beat by about 40 in Gainesville, I would love to see them play again.
Yeah, I really was thinking that might be a good game, and if I'm correct, I watched the whole game. I think it was 111-74 was the final score.
Crazy 37-point deal. I wouldn't have thought anybody could beat Arkansas by 37. By the way, the Arkansas-Missouri game Saturday was an instant classic.
Man.
Great game. Anyway, anything else on your end, Clay?
Yeah, I will second that it's good to have the normal Plaz voice back on the airwaves.
Yeah, it sounds better than that Kermit the Frog thing.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Day, guys. Good shows always.
So, Kelly, we are just moments away from my first pick, but we'll also acknowledge that those picks, does cause some level of pain. What type of pain? It's up to you to determine. But when it comes to pain, we have answers.
Are you tired of living with back pain? What would you do if the pain was gone?
At the Dr. Gill Center, we've helped thousands of people over the last 30 years break free from pain and get back to living life. We're committed to your outcomes, and our caring team listens, understands, and offers real solutions to neuropathy, back pain, and joint pain without unnecessary surgery or medication. Choose the clinic that listens. Choose the clinic that cares. Call the Dr. Gill Center today at 615-882-4838.
Let's make your pain-free life a reality.
Yeah, I'm not sure that I can do that. But Kelly, here's what they do. It's called an initial consultation. $49. You walk in, you tell them, here's the pain, here's how it got caused, if you know. Here's what it's restricting me on. And they'll put a plan together, short term and long term. The short term gets you to where at least you're feeling better. The long term, wipe it out completely. You may have given up on that thought. Don't. Call them. 615-882-4838. Again, 615-882-4838. So Parker filled in for me.
Very admirably, might I add.
Oh, yeah. Some of your picks suck, Parker.
I will
Show
say
us your record.
I got on a little bit of a heater there towards the end.
Oh, okay.
And it is coming to an end today because George is going to take over, and we'll see how that goes.
Where is George on the scoreboard?
I don't know. I'll have to pull that back up. We'll have it tomorrow.
Whoa. Wait a minute.
I think when
you knew that today we would be coming back in.
I think you were at 17-7 before I started taking over.
I could only wish to have been 17-7.
17-7.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah, because your last pick was during the AFC
last
championship game.
Kelly, so it's kind of time to strut around, isn't it?
Oh no!
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know about that. I can't believe that Parker caught back up with himself right there. That's not bad.
Admirably, Kelly. Admirably.
Yeah.
There you go.
We're using that word a lot. Here's what we're going with tonight. SoCon, ETSU, best team in the league.
Let's go Bucks.
Furman, not the best team in the league. But that SoCon has a history of really tight games. This will be a tight one, but in the end, ETSU, let's go Bucks.
And as always, George, good luck.
Kelly, I wish I thought you meant that, but I know what you're really all about.
Sure. You would be correct.
You're right through him, George.
Yeah, the problem is you don't. Tomorrow on the show, Tony Basilio from Knoxville. That's part of the deal. Robbie Stanley will join us. to talk about how the Preds did or didn't do at the trade deadline. See you then.
Hey guys, Big Joe here, proud member of the Beehive Club at Busy Bee. You should be one as well. Listen, March is off and rolling. Check out this deal. When you purchase a 16-SEER high-efficiency HVAC